They say happiness is just around the corner. But what if the corner keeps moving every time you take a step? What if every time you reach for it, it vanishes into something new, something more, something you don't have yet? This is not just a story about a man chasing joy. It's a journey through envy, loss, and a haunting discovery that everything he ever needed, he already had. Ravi was not a poor man. He had a stable job at a private company, a decent two-bedroom apartment in the heart of Mumbai, a loving wife named Mira, and a 6-year-old daughter, Anaya, who brought sunshine into his home like a walking, talking piece of heaven. But Ravi wasn't happy. Not really, because in the back of his mind, there was always someone doing better. When he scrolled through social media, he saw his college friend Ramesh, vacationing in Switzerland with his family. Another colleague just bought a luxury car. Even his neighbor, who used to borrow salt from him, now had a bigger TV and louder parties. And with every photo, every success story, Ravi felt a silent ache twist through his chest. Why not me? He didn't hate his life, but he resented how average it felt. There was always more to want, more to chase. He'd sit on the couch late at night after everyone had slept, scrolling mindlessly, eyes heavy, heart heavier. One day, things began to shift. He got a call from his boss, a promotion opportunity, double the salary, bigger responsibilities, overseas business trips. Ravi lit up. Finally, this was it, the step into a new life. He said yes before the details were clear. Soon, he was working 12-hour days, then 14. He missed dinners, bedtime stories, and Sunday family outings. But he didn't mind. He had goals. He had dreams. He could finally afford better clothes, better gadgets, better everything. But somehow, the happiness still didn't come. One night, after a particularly exhausting day, Ravi reached home at midnight. The house was dark except for a flickering light from Anaya's room. He stepped inside quietly, only to find her sitting up in bed, holding a hand-drawn picture in her small fingers. She looked up and smiled faintly. "Papa, you didn't see this," she whispered, handing it over. It was a drawing of the three of them, holding hands, smiling under a tree, their apartment building in the background. "I made it for school. They asked what makes us happy." Ravi's throat dried up. He looked at the drawing, simple, innocent, warm. But there was something terrifying in that moment. It wasn't a drawing of Switzerland, not a mansion or a luxury car, just the three of them together, but he brushed the feeling aside. "It's beautiful," he muttered, kissed her forehead, and went back to checking his emails in the other room. The next few weeks blurred into a storm of deadlines and client calls. Then came the business trip to Singapore, a chance to finally pitch to international investors. Ravi was over the moon. Mira didn't look thrilled when he told her. "You're leaving again?" she asked, her voice soft but wounded. "It's just 5 days. You said that last month and the month before. It's for us," he snapped, "for a better life." She didn't argue, but her silence hit harder than any insult. On the day of the flight, Anaya clung to his leg. "Please don't go, Papa. My dance competition is on Sunday. You promised." "I'll try, Beta," he mumbled, distracted, already checking his boarding pass and phone. But he didn't come back in time, and something inside their little world cracked. When he returned 5 days later, the house felt colder, distant. Mira was polite, but her eyes had dulled. Anaya barely spoke at dinner. It was like the warmth had left and taken all the color with it. Still, Ravi powered through. He told himself they would understand later, when things were perfect, when they could finally move to a bigger home. Until one night, something eerie happened. He woke up at 3 a.m. The apartment was deathly quiet, but he felt watched. Goosebumps prickled across his skin as he got up and walked into the hallway. Anaya's room was open. She wasn't inside. He rushed toward the living room and stopped. There she was, sitting on the couch in the dark, staring at the blank TV screen. "Anaya," he whispered. She turned her head slowly. Her eyes looked hollow. "I had a dream, Papa." He swallowed. "What kind of dream?" "We were living in a big house. You had a big car, but you were not there. The air grew cold. And Mama was crying. He stood frozen. Then I woke up, she added, curling her arms around herself. And I didn't know where you were. I thought the dream was real. He picked her up, held her close. But something felt fragile, like if he squeezed too hard, she might shatter. The next morning, Ravi made a decision. He requested a few days off, booked a trip, not to Dubai or London, but to a quiet village in Himachal where Mira once said she wanted to go. Just the three of them. He didn't check his email once. He didn't talk about investments or promotions. They walked by rivers, hiked through forests, roasted corn by a fire, and laughed, like really laughed, for the first time in months. Anaya glowed. Mira's smile returned, slowly but surely. One evening, as they watched the sunset over the hills, Mira said something he would never forget. You know, we never wanted more, Ravi. We just wanted you. Something hit him in the chest. And at that moment, Ravi looked around, at the sky painted in gold, his wife beside him, his daughter giggling with wildflowers in her hair. And for the first time in years, he didn't want anything more. He was happy, not because he had the most, but because he finally saw what he already had. Happiness isn't found in the race to catch what others have. It's hidden in the quiet corners of your own life, in the people waiting for your presence, not your presence, in the moments you pause long enough to feel the now. Ravi almost lost it all chasing shadows, but in stopping to breathe, he found what truly mattered. And maybe, just maybe, so can you. Ravi returned to the city with something strange in his chest. A peace, a stillness, like a fog, had finally lifted from his mind. For the first time in years, his heart wasn't weighed down by comparisons. There was no urge to open social media and measure his life against someone else's. He had tasted a rare kind of joy in the hills, unfiltered, unedited, and irreplaceable. He came back with new promises. To himself, to his family, to the life he had overlooked for so long. He reduced his hours at work. He started declining late-night calls. Sundays were now sacred, dedicated only to Mira and Anaya. No screens, no schedules, just slow breakfasts and silly games. At first, people at work were confused. Some whispered that he was losing his edge, that he wasn't as aggressive or hungry anymore. But Ravi didn't care. Let them talk. He was no longer chasing illusions. He was building a life. But change, even when born from clarity, comes with consequences. His boss noticed a shift. "You're not as ambitious as you used to be," Mrs. Sharma said in a closed-door meeting. "You used to want more. Now it feels like you've settled." Ravi looked him in the eye. "No, sir. I've finally realized how much I already have." That day, he was offered a tough choice. Either return to the grind, to the 70-hour weeks and foreign trips, or step down from the leadership track. Ravi took a deep breath. He could almost hear the echoes of his past self screaming inside him, "Don't throw this away." But then he thought of Anaya's drawing of Mira's quiet tears of the emptiness he had once called ambition. "I'll step down," he said. The room fell silent. And with that, Ravi walked away from the ladder everyone else was so desperately climbing. His income reduced. His social media became quieter. The invitations to elite networking dinners stopped. But his home, his small, sunlit home, grew warmer, fuller. He walked Anaya to school every morning. She would tell him about her dreams, her imaginary stories, the boy who tried to eat crayons in class. He learned to cook with Mira on weekends. They laughed when the rotis came out like maps of unknown countries. One evening, while cleaning out an old drawer, Ravi found a dusty notebook. It was his from years ago, a dream journal. He opened it. Inside were pages filled with goals. Get promoted before 35. Buy Audi A6. 2 foreign vacations a year. Own a duplex in Bandra. He stared at the list. None of those things had made him happy. None of them had filled the void. They were just things. Noise. Proof for other people's eyes. But as he closed the notebook, he noticed something scribbled in the corner of one page. Sit under a tree with my daughter. Just laugh. His breath caught. That moment had already happened. In Himachal, under a crooked pine tree, where Anaya had chased butterflies while he and Mira laughed till their stomachs hurt. He had achieved his real dream, not with money, not with status, but by being there. But peace is a fragile thing, and the world has a way of testing it. Months passed, and then one day, Ravi received a message from Ramesh, his old college friend, the one always posting pictures from around the world. Ramesh was coming to town and wanted to meet. They met at a cafe. Ramesh was dressed in designer clothes, flaunting a Rolex, keys to a BMW peeking out from his pocket. "You've gone quiet," Ramesh laughed. "No updates. No fancy posts. What happened to our ambitious Ravi?" Ravi smiled. "He's still here. Just focus on different things." Ramesh leaned in. "Listen, I've got a business idea. Big one. Requires full commitment. But the returns, life-changing. I want you in. We could rule the game." The old temptation stirred. The thrill, the glory. But Ravi just shook his head. "I already have what I need." Ramesh laughed again, this time with a hint of pity. "You really think you'll be happy with this small life forever?" Ravi looked out the window. A father was helping his little daughter balance on a scooter. She squealed with laughter. "I don't think it's small," he replied. "I think it's enough." Ramesh didn't understand, but that was okay. Not everyone has to. As months turned into years, Ravi's choice became his way of life. Anaya grew. She no longer needed bedtime stories, but often sat beside him, sharing teenage anxieties and dreams. One day she asked him, "Papa, do you ever regret not being rich?" He paused. "What makes you think I'm not?" "Well, we don't live in a big house. You don't have a big car. You never bought Mama diamonds." Ravi smiled. "Richness isn't just money, Beta. It's time. It's laughter. It's eating together without checking your phone. It's knowing you're loved." She didn't respond. But later that night, she hugged him longer than usual. Years later, life came full circle. Ravi was invited as a guest speaker to a small seminar at a college. The topic, how to define success. As he stood at the podium, facing a sea of restless young faces, he saw versions of his younger self in their eyes. Hungry, ambitious, desperate to prove something. He began, "When I was your age, I wanted everything. Money, power, recognition. I believed success was measured by how high you could climb and how loud others clapped." The students leaned in, but I was wrong. He told them about his journey, about the silent war of envy, the cost of chasing what others flaunted, the hollow victories, and then the turning point, the trip to Himachal, the drawing, the lost moments. He ended with a pause. "True success is being happy with what you have. If you can sleep peacefully, love deeply, and smile at the simplest moments, you've won." The room was silent. Some students were teary-eyed. After the talk, a boy came up to him. "Sir," he said, voice trembling, "I was about to drop out. I thought I'd never be enough. But now I think I just wasn't looking in the right place." Ravi placed a hand on his shoulder. "Look within, not around." As he left the hall, his phone buzzed. A message from Mira. "Dinner's ready. We made your favorite. Anaya helped." He smiled, tucked the phone back into his pocket. Outside, the city lights shimmered. But for once, Ravi wasn't chasing them. He was going home, to his greatest treasure. The world will always scream. More, bigger, faster. But sometimes, the real magic lies in slowing down and seeing the beauty of now. Happiness isn't hiding in the next upgrade. It's blooming in the corners of your life you forgot to water. You don't need everything to be happy. You just need to see, really see what you already have. And that changes everything.